certainly a player that seems willing to, do what he needs to for the team, but also play what people aren't necessarily willing to try, which is a thing that actually happens a surprising amount in pro. So Devontae should certainly be applauded for his willingness to just do what he needs, and including experimenting with the new champions when they come out. On the CLG side, disappointing, obviously, not just the results they've had being 0-2 currently in the LCS Lock-In, but not having the roster they intended either, with both Finn and Brox are currently having some visa issues. And I think on that note, I think I'm just looking for the, the core starters of CLG to look a little bit better. Pobelter, Total, and Smoothie have like so many games in the LCS if you combine their collective experience together. And I think, if given that they're the intended starters for this team, yes, you don't have the, your current starters yet, your full team. I still think these are players that should be able to get mileage, even though you're playing up against a very hot-looking 100 Thieves.
Absolutely. I mean, Griffin was formerly Wiggly. So Wiggly, Pobelter, and Smoothie already have existing synergies from a team. Granted, it wasn't the greatest team of all time, but they still had played together and disbanded for whatever reasons, but now they're back together. And I think the problem with this CLG core of 5, which is not what they're going to run through, is that you've got 5 players that all need somebody else to start the fight for you. You've got 5 guys that are great at following up, but none that are really the ones to incite the fight. Neither Griffly, Smoothie, or Pobelter are going to be the ones to set you up and be that hardcore initiator. And you're not getting that from Wild Turtle or Solo, who had Ignar for the season. So the Ignar and Santorin were the engaged for this squad before. They're not there anymore. No one on CLG is filling those shoes. So maybe with a draft, they can start to change things up. We see what champions like Nautilus can do for Joey. Hard engaged in the support role can help a lot out here for CLG.
Yeah, I think in general, just picking active champions is always a good thing, especially early on
the
life cycle of a metagame. Renekton, pretty active. Talia, also pretty good. There's going to be Talia jungle there for Griffin, stealing that pick away from Closer. That was his only jungler so far of the tournament. Renekton, Kai'Sa as the 6 bans. Just to recap, were TF, Galio, Nidalee, Akali, Pantheon, and Olaf. So CLG, what do you have here to pair with this Talia? Because you cannot pick the Renekton that you would have probably liked to have.
That is a nasty lane already. You've got Renekton and Kai'Sa, 2 of the highest win rate, highest priority champions thus far on 10-11. Globally, these 2 champions have really high priority. Trading it for the Talia, Griffin must be a really impressive Talia here to make this kind of move here. And the combination that they go with Solo, I think, is going to be really telling. Maybe they prioritize his Pobelter, but what I'm looking for is physical damage in another lane. And there it is, the Talia Renekton physical damage. But it can still be one where Someday and Closer can absolutely obliterate this one. The point and click for Renekton combination is just way too nasty. You really don't get to deal with it if they pair with an AP jungler that they do every single time. So it's gonna be once again the Someday Closer show, I feel, for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, pretty good show, honestly. That was probably the pairing that most people were excited to see with these 4 players moving onto the team alongside Someday. There's Lilia for Closer, so plenty of good damage. At level 6, you can set up as well, which is always nice for your Renekton, but you said they wanted an AP jungler. There it is in Lilia with Talia banned away. Nah, the pick here for Sol is interesting. We've seen some Nah, certainly maybe more Nah around the world, but it does feel like Nah is declining a little bit here, and I don't see the immediate synergy between Talia and Nah, but certainly can maybe get some stuff done. Talia generally wants someone to help set her up because she's not very good at CC on her own, unless your aim's really good. But we'll see. I'll withhold judgment until the rest of CLG's draft. Let's put it that way. As Leona is going to be banned away. That better love to have Leona, huh?
The pie in the sky for the Talia-Gnar synergy is the Talia wall into the Gnar ultimate, but I've never seen you've seen it like once in pro play since the combination has been available, so it really is so much more rare to pull off. I don't think it's something you can draft and say, yeah, this is how we're going to win the fight. We'll look to set these up. The angles are so difficult. I'm trying to read into these bans 100 Thieves are throwing out, and my guess right away with the Leona and Alistar is that they're trying to take away that Nautilus. Already Joey had a great showing of it, and the combination with Kai'Sa can actually be really nasty to pick on somebody like a Jhin to get into the backline. It's been the kind of the more popular combination with Kai'Sa before she got popular in 2021, but I still think that the support is what they want right now, and you get to save last pick for Demonte.
Yeah, I mean, you might give up, say, TF, which is one of the things you might not want to do, but I'll see what CLG bans here. They already banned one mage, they'll ban Lucian as well, so another AD solo laner, which would have been mid, actually, given the draft we've seen from 100 Thieves. but actually might be mid counter-picking support here for the Thieves. No, it's set support instead, so Huhi going to take one of the last remaining engaged supports, but that does leave Nautilus open still if that's something CLG want to pick for themselves.
It's the Huhi special. Really like that. I mean, this actually has to be one of the best ways for a player to make a role swap, because usually players make a role swap and right away you don't really have an iconic champion that they're drifting towards, but Huhi has that right away. Role swap and instantly you've got a champion that you can associate with him that he's performing well on. It's the set support that he brought out before it was meta, and he's now doing it when it's well into his phase and still people are foregoing him, but he's succeeding on it.
So you remember set support, I remember Vel'Koz support out of Huhi in the very early days of him playing support in Academy. But I think set certainly looks good on him at this point, as Victor is the pick for CLG.
Wait, was that his first, that was his first ever support pick? It was a Vel'Koz game.
It was very early in his career as a support in Academy. Ezreal's going to be the last one there. So I see some team fight here on the CLG side. You know, Magnet pull into maybe a gravity field with a Gnar ult. Maybe that Taliyah wall has enough time at the end of the day to swoop in and set it all up. So like, I see what CLG are trying to do. Jhin can also help you set up picks as well, but it does feel very ultimate reliant here. I did see Smoothie look at Thresh. That might have been a little bit more proactive more often, as the last pick for 100 Thieves is indeed going to be Orianna. So just a control mage battle there in mid.
You know, you're saying it's ultimate reliant for CLG, and I want to compare it to a draft that I think it was Evil Geniuses had earlier today with the Jhin that shows you how you can still have a very strong pick, but not be ultimate reliant. You had, I think it was Jhin, Nidalee, Zoe, already huge pick potential of an individual target, non-ultimate reliant, and then you have a Thresh for support to bail you out. So there's a lot of ways to play around Jhin that increase the range of the Deadly Flourish and allow you to get so much value out of these engaging without ultimate abilities, and that allows you to continue to set up the pace of the game before having to wait on cooldown. So maybe CLG can still find what they're looking for with these ultimates, but the burden of execution is, I think, a bit higher now.
Yeah, I'm just generally curious to see more Rel. She is, of course, the newest champion to the league. She has seen a couple games already in the LCS with not too much success, but I think like how she functions and what her, you know, her core things she wants to do in Comstar are still maybe to be seen. To me, she feels like, you know, she's, you know, adding to AoE teamfight with how strong her ultimate is. Yes, you can set things up with her E as well. I think there are a lot of cool combinations you can do with Rel. She does have quite a bit of CC kind of baked into that kit. But when I think about, you know, how many different engaged supports are being played now, and I think of like Alistar, Leona, both of which were of course banned this game. Even something like the set, which can go sometimes a little bit earlier, whose ultimate is similarly impactful if you find the right target. Curious to see how it all shakes out, because it's going to be a pretty explosive 2v2 in the bottom lane, you have to think, although Cleanse there for Turtle is going to have to try and keep himself safe, which I do respect, but everyone the FBI and who have gone up against have failed, because they're looking like they really haven't missed a beat since the end of 2020.
It's the strength of being able to stay together, not only as a four-man squad, but as a duo lane with your jungler as well. I think the fact that your jungler knows how your bottom lane plays is also such a big deal. And you got a mid laner that wants to play around you. So I think that this team is a good example for us to see what the pressure of a single lane can affect others. We've heard from Someday that, you know, if you're doing amazingly in the top lane, it's still not enough for you to want to push that advantage as hard as you can if the bot lane is suffering. So we don't even know what Someday is capable of, because he hasn't paired with a bottom lane that's been as dominant and FBI as Huhi. So the fact that there's still more to see from Someday because they're now paired with a bottom lane that is doing this much, I think is really exciting for one of the best imports that we've had in NA thus far.
Demonte and Pobelt are doing battle there, but a bit ambitious versus the early Q from POB, but Demonte not taking too much damage as both top laners actually leashed for the jungle as well. They both started on the top side, and looks like they'll be full clearing their sides of the jungle before moving on to the other side. Huhi and FBI, though, as expected, are already getting things involved as early as possible. It doesn't really matter where the jungler is. They're going to fight for level 2 and try and contest every CS. This is just like, you know, the gold standard for aggressive bottom lanes here in the LCS. FBI and Huhi again, especially with, you know, Double If leaving. I think FBI can rightfully stake his claim as the best ADC currently in the LCS.
Yeah, absolutely can. I think when they face off against the C9 bottom lane, I think we'll get to see where they stand in that. That's going to be a high-fee matchup, and it's going to be high-fee in the bottom lane in this specific game because that aggression that who he's trying to maintain relies on him being in that brush and constantly threatening either to walk up and smash your heads together or have the Hex Flash when he has it. So the jungler is ending down here. Not only will it call attention to who he is playing, but it makes it so that CLG in the top lane gets a better end of the Renekton matchup that they wanted from this Gnar. Having no jungle interaction on the flip side for the top lane makes it so that Solo has a great time up here. So the junglers having to stick down here is good news for CLG's top, but a little rough for their bot lane.
They're going for this dive. Griffin is actually busy clearing out the Krugs, and they'll know that now. He's recalling, which they don't know, but Closer was potentially in the area. I think maybe fending off potential play out of the Taliyah, but Closer did waste quite a bit of time down here, not farming, maybe hoping that Smoothie and Wild Turtle would poke their heads out a little too far in the lane. For them, though, they've stayed disciplined, didn't lose too much CS under the tower either, so despite the fact that FBI and Huhi are constantly trying to trade aggressively here, as Huhi's going to go back in again. Nice stun, though, for Smoothie. Buffers that E through and then bounces out of there.
So they do know, though, that because Griffin's Krugs weren't up, that he started in the top side, because had he started in the bottom side, he would have done red into Krugs right away, and his pathing top would have made it so that by the time Closer gets back down there, they'll be able to see those Krugs by the time they saw it. So now they have an idea that he's going to be in the top side and continue to start farming, power farming his way back down to the lane. So starting top, kind of looking at the Gnar lane and then going bottom, but a fight to the bot.
Ignite, yeah, they're going after Smoothie there, who he saw the play and went for it, flash in with the E, and now going to force Closer down here as well. So the dive is very real here. There is no help for the CLG 2v2.
They're just going to try to deny this.
E lands, Closer's in. Burn damage not enough. There's the Eep, and there's first blood for Closer. Puts up the white flag as Turtle, also still in trouble here. Who he's going to try and get the wave pushed in.
But there's no help coming.
E lands in, Closer going to tank the tower, FBI going to start things off. He's tanking tower aggro now, that has to flash away, does use the heal, but Huhi with the W, he's able to clean it up. Closer will get executed though, but that's all worth it in the end. That's 2 kills down for the 100 Thieves bottom lane.
Huge play there out of the bottom lane. That execute is a big deal too, and it's not like CLG gets anything in return. The Taliyah wasn't even counter jungling during that time. She's just clearing her own camps, and this engage right here, the key thing was flashing away from the W from Kai'Sa. That would have been a lot of damage right there. Might have been able to even proc that passive with a few more autos. And then here, I mean, I think Smoothie's best course of action is to try to outplay with Jhin when they dive to Jhin. I think CLG has to try to outplay it there and say, all right, dive the Jhin, and when you commit to tower diving him, Rel will try to re-engage and crowd control somebody under the turret, because the Jhin still had flash and cleanse, so there might have been an option to outplay, but that's all just in the aftermath, because that whole setup was minutes in advance from the waves crashing and the junglers pathing down there. That Taliyah wasn't going to make it, but the Lilia was.
I think even on top of that, like, yes, knowing where Taliyah was and setting her up nicely, also both solo laners kept perfect track of their opponents, and everyone has teleport available. So, like, you had to make sure everything went right, but 100 Thieves planning and then execution looking very good to the tune of about 1,000 gold ahead now, which the bulk of which will sit on FBI's Kai'Sa despite the CS deficit he's currently in, although catching this wave he's going to be okay. TP down is who he finds the play again. Turtle going to be the target. Good stun there for Smoothie, but Demonte's here. The shockwave lands and see you later as Huhi is going to grab his first kill. Now Smoothie going to get chased down with a decent chunk of damage being done. But only 1 kill this time for 100 Thieves.
Just look at the setup that 100 Thieves are playing with. So they dive the bottom lane, the wave bounces back, but they're not happy with just that. They set up a ward behind you on the bounce back and then TP on your ass and kill you right away. It's a great continuation of the advantage they found into the bottom lane, and this is them knowing how to exploit the bottom lane and transition that into global objectives. It's a huge move out of them that's just steadily getting them a big gold lead. This is just really impressive stuff out of this roster, and I think the fact that we're so early on into the tournament is what makes it so impressive. Middle of the display, we're looking at these moves and you see them kind of being expected, but second game, it's just a team is clearly with a head start over the rest of the competition.
Yep, and again, someday just up in the top side, playing weak side, being just fine here. Down a little bit of CS, but He'll float that disadvantage pretty happily. Huhi's going back in again. Turtle's just getting picked on. No sums anywhere in the bottom lane here as Turtle. He's just going to get run down by Huhi, but Smoothie going to dash out. Does get the interrupt there onto Set. So no more chase down for 100 Thieves. But, I mean, just Turtle can't do anything. If there's no one else in the lane, Huhi's going to jump on him every single time.
Yeah, they can't land anymore. Luckily, the wave, the cannon, is actually still alive on the side of 100 Thieves, so eventually it'll be pushing back to CLG's side, so they're going to be happy to cash some minions without having to trade these big fights. So the bot lane will just base, take the reset, and be happy that they're getting so much out of this CLG bot lane. And on the flip side, though, it's not like the solo lanes are having a bad time on the side of CLG. They actually were able to get something from Damonte's move into the bot set, and Solo has continued to do what he was meant to be doing in this matchup in the solo lane, but he's 1v1ing, just ulting to get him out and get that quick reset. They haven't based yet. It's 8 minutes in, and top laners have yet to recall.
That's a good point, actually. Still torrent items on either side as they both use their ultimates before completing their first base. Someday wants back in because Mininar is a very promising-looking target, but also the Rift Herald's being started by 100 Thieves, so extending this play for quite a long time and delaying the recall timer even more. But Someday just pressuring for the team, knowing that this objective is worth more than this base that he does want to get off, but Solo's not going to kill him anymore. He's already burnt everything. So CLG going to counter-invade the blue in response.
If you need to see how uneventful the top lane was when it comes to action, notice that it wasn't also that skirmish where they used ultimates. That was the first time they used their potions as well. They hadn't even been trading enough to use potions in this matchup. So that's what happens when when your junglers are all pathing to the bot side. You just can't afford to trade that way. And here we have maybe a little counter punch against FBI and Huhi, but there is a teleport from Someday, so I wouldn't be surprised to see an immediate response from 100 Thieves if they even dared to think about picking on this bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, Close is pathing down here as well, right? Like, FBI was playing very respectfully back towards the tier 2. Like, he knows what's going to happen here. They saw the blue invade. He scouted it with his Ws. Now back with his support and the jungle in the area. And they're going to clear out all that vision, make sure that they know no one else is here, and then just take the wave back and keep pushing. Yes, they're only up 600 gold with these 3 kills, but looking good here on the 100 Thieves side once again, even though this early game is a little bit quieter than maybe their opening game of this tournament.
So far, I think the next move for them to kind of accelerate the pace is going to be using that Rift Herald, but probably it'll be used in tandem with another objective. If we kind of expect what we've seen out of them to continue throughout their plays, it's trying to stack advantages on top of each other. So utilizing this Herald to maybe go for another dive into the bottom lane or a teleport move down there and continue to get attention into FBI's lane is, I think, what they'll look to do. The secondary move that is usually very common but doesn't actually net you a big advantage. It's just popping it in the mid lane, buy some time before the dragon. It's just really hard to go wrong with it as long as the supports are missing. And if Closer goes for it, well, you can't blame him because he'll just be putting gold in Damonte's pocket, and an Orianna that gets fed is always a win condition.
Big wave here up for Solo, being pushed into the tower, but no jungler presence, no mid laner. So Sunday just going to be able to clean this up and continue to, take the CS deficit. I mean, Someday feels fine. Got the Iron Spike whip, got the steel caps. Yes, Solo's pressuring him here, but he's keeping up in XP. Hasn't had to TP anywhere. Barely had to base, as you mentioned before, and now Closer back down to the bottom side of the map. What a surprise, Crumbs.
Okay. Ooh, it hits.
Go to sleep. Not yet. Closer once more. Does put him to sleep now, but there's Huhi. That's the real target they wanted. Wild Turtle, see you later. Had Cleanse and Flash and didn't get to use either.
He just woke up and was like, where's my friend? Where'd they go? Deleted.
Yep, suplexed in by Set. It's one of the reasons he's so powerful. Able to lock down a single target very effectively. Here's Griffin in the top side, but he's a wave late. I feel like Someday getting aggressive, going to get thrown into the wall, but he dodges out of the upcoming wall and jukes the knock up there as well. Someday going to get out of there as Griffin finally shows his face in the top side of the map. And Someday again, he'll pop Dominus, he'll keep respect. Probelta also potentially roaming up here, but somebody's going to try and fight for some of these Krugs here. Solo continuing to want to find pressure, does get plates, but Rift Herald in the bottom side is going to make this race for the tower not a race at all. FBI is going to get all the gold as per usual.
And the Dragon too, they're going to get an objective out of this one, so yeah, it looks like a trade for CLG, but 100 Thieves is getting the steal in this one. And you wanted to look at how this Renekton was going to play in Someday's hand. worse when it's 100 Thieves, because we know that Someday was always okay with being weak side, and he's just going to get taken out.
Oh, what a stun. I think that might be enough. Solo's going to have to jump out of there. He is going to get killed. Someday finds the trade under his own tower despite all that pressure.
That is a big outplay. I thought he was going to die without being able to trade, but he actually gets it right at the end, flashing in onto Solo, who still had armor on him. But what I was going to be saying is that when Someday now gets met with FBI and Huhi, when you have a bottom lane that also wants attention, you're always torn with, well, who is the jungler going to be focusing on when you have to go with top and bottom? You really don't get to pick both. It's not like mid and top where you are right next to each other. So with 100 Thieves seeing the attention that has been paid towards FBI thus far, I think we can safely say that they had the option to play with the Lilia Renekton to the top lane, but they have prioritized FBI over Someday when it comes to playing carries, and I think it's something that they'll continue to do because of Someday's willingness to play weak side and count on himself to make these outplays while being on that side that doesn't get all the attention.
Just so well played. You know that that Drake meme where it's like, you know, something no and then something else yes? I feel like it's strong side, weak side Someday, but both are yes, right? It's just like no matter what tools you give him to play the game, whether you play to his lane or just leave him alone and force him to play with the enemy top laner and jungler for, you know, 15 minutes in a game while you're playing the bot lane, Someday can just do it all, which I think is the thing that's so exciting for this team, because we already knew what, you know, the 4 other players formerly of Golden Guardians, now on 100 Thieves, were capable of doing. And we've asked for years, it feels like, for somebody to have a team that can kind of put him at the ceiling that we know he has. And the fact that he is such a versatile player in a team that already had such a well-defined play style, this is just the start for 100 Thieves, right? Like they're playing to the bot lane, Huhi's 2-0-2, FBI is looking good still, and Someday is just casually tanking the weak side of the map for this whole early game and doing just fine. And you know that if they need to do the opposite and start playing to the top lane, which we know Closer can do, Someday can also carry those games. So it's just so nice to have a team that is just very diverse, but also very clean in how they execute, at least from what we've seen so far.
And that's part of what I enjoy about Someday the most, that he'll do those sides, and he's not the only player in the world that can do that. A lot of players can play weak and strong side, but he'll do both well. Like, he'll actually give it his all. You know he's doing it with a smile. He's trying his hardest, and now they're looking for Huhi, who gets popped.
Oh, good shot down there. Smoothie with the combo, popping the Magnet Storm. Now Closer going to have to run. The Jhin ulti actually going to shut it down. What a snipe from Total, and FBI is going to get tagged as well. That's going to be bad news here potentially for the Kaiser, as Griffin just going to melt that health bar. Killer Instinct flash from FBI nails it there, but now going to have to fight the Talia and not going to win that fight, especially with Rel attached, as Griffin going to grab yet another kill.
Huge 3 kills just like that, and the Rift Herald 100 Thieves isn't in a position to get anything in that, so that means that CLG really did not have to invest much to get these gold kills, these bounties that they just got from 100 Thieves, and that is a huge deal. This Talia getting fed, I mean, this is considered the best jungler right now. She's got 3 kills. This is not a silly pick that, oh, okay, not a big deal. It's an Italy, right? Can fall off. This Talia can hard carry a game here. And 100 Thieves suddenly, with what looked to be such a dominating and such a praiseworthy performance, is now 2,000 gold behind off of an overzealous reach into blue side.
Yep, we're used to Huhi, like, you know, going deep to make this plays. This one just felt like it was a little too far.
Really underestimating what Talia can do, right? Talia was really behind, but she's still very strong, and set support is not tank set. He's very squishy, still needs a lot of items to be able to get going and be just flashing into the opponent without fear of being popped right away. We've seen some games earlier this week where set supports try a few too many plays, and before you know it, they can't even engage anymore because their engage gets instantly popped. So Huhi has a few more lives in him before he's not going to be able to even look for a fight without trading his life.
All right, well, Dragon's coming up in 50 seconds. 100 Thieves already own the first 2. Mythics are completed for 8 of the 10 champions in the game. It is just supports that are lagging behind, which is kind of expected. So going to be pretty well equipped. In fact, CLG are up in gold as they enter the next possible team fight around this objective, and they're going to pop the Rift Herald. They won off the back of that exchange as well. And I said that, you know, Talia felt like maybe she didn't have someone to help set her up. I think I'm wrong. Like, Rel actually looking really good in that skirmish to help set up Griffin there on the Talia. So Rift Herald's going to knock down this tower almost all the way down. But 100 Thieves are going to fight back and try and get themselves in this Dragon Pit. at the right possible time, but no vision right now, except that one ward there just to the right of Smoothie next to that LCS banner, which looks very fancy, I might add.
New little logo and new little mini-Gnar. So he just got out of Mega and has teleport. So looking for that red buff again someday. Once they get this skirmish settled, they actually can start looking about that teleport. So this is a huge move now that he has this objective. I think this is CLG that's just going to happily take this objective. 100 Thieves will try to contest it with a TP that's not a flank. So we just get a head-on 5-on-5 here.
Yeah, that one's Demonte, thankfully, so less important that he flanks. But Solo's here, maybe ready with a flank. Actually going to spot this TP. Someday going to TP into 4 people. Good flash. Gets himself out of there. 100 Thieves going to try and finish the Dragon and complete the heist. Great shockwave, finds 3. There's the set as well. Going to knock one back. Smoothie looking low. Is going to go down, but just barely. As Close is able to secure the Dragon. But the damage is massive on the other side between the Victor and the Jhin. And that's going to be 1 kill for Pobelter as Demonte is low. FBI also forced to run. Does get shut down, but he gets the shutdown on the other side as he takes down the Talia. So 2 for 2 across the board, but the Dragon did go to 100 Thieves.
That's a big shutdown to take at the end of the day, but that fight with the TP from Someday actually didn't end up having all members being involved. The Gnar and Renekton were just routing each other, so despite that shockwave being huge, there's not a lot of follow-up coming in from the rest of the squad. So with Someday having to flash away, you can see that the rest of 100 Thieves just wants to rush down this Dragon. They have some time with the shockwave hitting, but then it's just the Rel. She's buying so much time for the rest of the squad to come through, and her death really doesn't mean that much. Griffin right at the end. He could have had this kill, just kind of missed his the angle on his pebble toss. 100 Thieves is now on Soul Point. That is what they're looking for to get back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, only down 1,200 gold. I think with the Soul, they'll be relatively happy with how things have shaken out, even though their early game did look so good through their bottom lane, and it did look like another pretty clean snowball. CLG doing a good job fighting here in this game, but the Dragons certainly have gone the way of 100 Thieves. That last team fight also belonging to them. I wonder if he wanted to ult somebody else, because Talia popped stopwatch, and he dragged someone into his team. Oh, it was a support. Is Sunday and Solo going to fight here? This doesn't look very fair at all, but Wild Turtle going to even those odds up. Does get the root there with the W, and Sunday's going to be forced out.
Yeah, the second the Rage Bar instantly got depleted, Renekton's like, yep, I can go in. I can pop you right now. So Jhin coming in to help the day with a deadly flourish. Scares the Crocodile away.
Someday again just continuing to play with the respect he needs to. Huhi though, already with the wraparound here onto Solo. Meganar going to keep Solo pretty forward in the lane, trying to get it pushed in. Cannon is collected there for Someday, but Huhi's got to be here. Oh, that sleep somehow missed just barely, even with the setup. But there's the set ulti, there's the slam jam, and that's, thank you ma'am, Someday. It's all yours collected. Huhi says, nah. Just taxing that kill there, taking out Solo.
But how can they do that? How can they send 3 people, especially the 2 that are most responsible for vision with the jungler and support, to the bottom lane with a jungler with no pastry, with a top laner that has teleport? CLG had 3 members in the top side, Jhin taking red buff, and they're not pressuring a Baron opportunity. I know it's only 20 minutes in, but this is a game where you can take Barons very quickly now in League of Legends. So I think this was an opportunity where 100 Thieves saw that they could take something, but CLG definitely did not respond. They had an opportunity to really punish that from 100 Thieves. They were not in a position to make it.
All right, well, we'll reset things. We've got 2 minutes until the Ocean Soul is available for 100 Thieves, and the first Dragon will be up for the taking here for CLG. 2 items done for most of the champions in this game. I think Victor, being the biggest winner right now, has that Lich Bane finish, which is awfully strong. Closer, though, just trying to get the bait. Smoothie's out of there, though, as Closer tried to put somebody to sleep with that long-range swell seed, but at the end of the day, people are just going to walk away. Smoothie not going to get himself caught in a brush, and 100 Thieves going to reset as they look to re-push these waves and set up for the next objective. Again, that Dragon Soul is on the way, 1 minute 30 now.
And for that Dragon Soul, 100 Thieves should still think about the fight. Winning the fight here can get you the Baron, and the Baron can get you a win into the game despite having no soul. Here comes a flank, though, and engage happening.
Oh, very nice there. Smoothie going to dive in with the Rel. They're going to take out Demonte in an instant as Solo is not going to get Closer, who is forced to flash away. FBI, though, alongside Huhi, face checks the Jhin crit, which isn't a particularly fun feeling. And CLG, they'll grab their pick and they'll shove down mid lane.
That's a huge pick to get right away. They're really not thinking about what Taliyah can do to separate the team. You see that multiple members are splitting up to secure vision, but that's when CLG engages with the Weaver as well. Just divide and conquer, and it's going to continue to work because there's not a lot of mobility on the side of 100 Thieves. You really just have a bunch of champions that just have to walk across terrain, and that makes it very difficult when the Taliyah can come out of nowhere, divide you from your teammate, and now you are just without the help that you need from the set to peel this Rel diving onto you.
All right, well, watch this one again here. Again, Taliyah and Rel teaming up very nicely here. It looked like CLG were about to walk into a shockwave, but they find the pick instead.
Yeah, just a sick combination right there. Right? Those two locking in the Orianna in the middle, and it's the ward in the middle of the lane. Those are the wards that 100 Thieves needs to be very careful about to clear out, because those are the ones that tell Taliyah what angle she can come in and go for the Weaver's wall. The deeper those wards in, the more damaging those walls can be.
All right, well, Solo's TP was forced here because CLG need to be here for this soul fight. Sunday is trying to find an angle around the back of it. There's Hui already going to be diving in onto Smoothie. Gets the hook as well, and Victor's just going to get shut down by the Orianna as FBI. Able to take down Rel on the back end of the fight as well, so make it two quick ones there for 100 Thieves. Should be a one dragon fight here, but curtain call out of Jin. He's going to try and poke one down. Sunday looking pretty low. The last shot is good enough to get the kill. And now asleep is the mini now here, but he hops away on his ally to get enough distance between them. And despite those two very clean picks, CLG find one back, and 100 Thieves might not be able to get this dragon out, but Hui again looking back in over the wall with the Hex Flash.
Wild Turtle is so scary right now. These fourth shots on Jin on low health targets are so nasty.
Oh, Closer just going to get slammed to the wall by Solo. Dragon's already dead.
Whoa.
FBI going to shred Wild Turtle, though. And Kaisa going to flash in over the wall. Hui teaming up over the back of the Dragon Pit to kill Griffin. And that may be Baron here as Solo. Going to have to be careful. Two low health members in the pit, though, as Pobelta is going to run down the Kaisa alongside Solo. Demonte going to get over to safety. Smoothie here as well. CLG maybe can find another pick here. Smoothie guesses right, sees it over the wall. Demonte, silly spot to be recalling as Rel's going to grab the shutdown.
Wait, Pastry, in that whole thing, 100 Thieves didn't even get the dragon. It actually went over to CLG. So that's a huge win out of them. They're maybe going for Baron here? No, they really could not. But still, the fact that they get that dragon from 100 Thieves is a huge help to them. Now the Ocean Soul win condition, really a lot less likely now. Oh, they're going for it. Yeah, they are. There's a lot of damage on this Snar, that percentage HP. Taliyah might be able to make it if she uses ultimate to get into the mix, and Closer does not have his flash, so he won't be able to flash in for a steal.
So our TP, though, is Sunday going to TP in to make sure that CLG stop their attempts on the Baron. It's pretty easy for Taliyah to get there with level 2 Weaver's Wall, so I don't mind the attempt for CLG, but basically just cost 100 Thieves a teleport and then they back off. Okay, let's watch this again, because this team fight was wild. It was basically two different team fights.
First fight that we ever see with Someday as well. So the fact that he actually pops the sweeper, hides of his vision, and instantly goes onto the Victor with the Kaisa. Huge move right away, right? Victor doesn't even get to pop his ultimate, but we learn that the rest of the team still has a lot of damage there. The Jin, here from the fact that he's aiming at both entrances into the river, makes it so hard for the 100 Thieves team to continue to hold that ground, and then it's just a matter of weaving cooldowns in and out. And I was so surprised at the end here at the quickness with which FBI deletes Wild Turtle. I did not think this was going to be that fast. Look at that. Bam. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of help from Orianna as well, but FBI continuing to impress, so aggressive, so assertive in these plays, but Pobelta does make sure that there's nothing else here for CLG, and Demonte maybe should have joined his buddy in the brush there for that recall, but it's long gone at this point as CLG are once again poking around the Baron pit. Still close in gold here as CLG continue to put up a fight here against 100 Thieves. Smoothie again diving in. Oh, what a counter engagement for Hui, but he's going to get blown to pieces as a result. He needed to save FBI, but it cost him his life.
Yeah, that is him going down, but the rest of the 100 Thieves lineup can take a 4v5 if CLG want to go do a Baron here. So 100 Thieves have to be very careful playing with vision here. You've got Kaisa W, Orianna Qs to really check brushes, so they should know that CLG is not thinking about starting this Baron. So it's not a big deal then that Hui goes down, since CLG is really doing nothing with that pick. In fact, this is a very counter-logic move, Pastry, because you just got a pick and now you've lost the mid-tier 1. So, should have been the other way around. if there was something to take on the side of 100 Thieves, but CLG will lose the turret after making the pick.
Yeah, bottom wave was very heavily pushed in there, so Solo was dealing with that. 100 Thieves know that the Baron was extremely unlikely to be aggressed on at that particular juncture, and who he comes back to life with, you know, maybe a bad story about what happened there. But we did say, you know, not sure how much value they're going to be able to get between like the Gnar, Rel, Weaver's Wall situation. They've actually been really coordinated with this set of champions. So I'm very impressed with how they're using the Taliyah Wall to cordon off sections and, you know, start skirmishes or engages. And Rel is just like jumping on people, almost like, you know, early release Rakan in some ways, making FBI's life very troublesome. Who he thankfully able to protect him in that last encounter. We'll see if he can do it again, because CLG, you know, if they kill this Kai'Sa, very challenging for 100 Thieves to win a team fight.
Well, Taliyah is very exciting for junglers to play, because so many times the burden of initiation is on you, and you have to put your body on the line to get that fight. But Taliyah allows you to get the fight with the shove and still be out of harm's way. But they're rushing this Baron. Can 100 Thieves do something about it?
Well, they can see two people in the back of the pit.
Oh,
so
too early.
low. It's going to be a 50-50. Clo's going to try and make his way in there. They're going to look to finish it. Smoothie's in. Close over the top of the wall. He's not going to make it just yet. Baron goes over. It's Pobelter that gets it. But 100 Thieves able to kill Rel in the process. So not a trade they wanted, but I guess they'll have to take it.
Oh, they wanted to burst it down with the Monte using the shockwave, but it was so early. I don't know what they thought was happening. Maybe that Jhin was going to use a fourth shot on that Baron and eliminate it that way, but TP's coming in for the Ocean Soul. They don't want to let 100 Thieves take this, so a 4v4 is about to break out, yet they don't have the smite. CLG does have the smite. They need to pick off Solo. He could be the one to go down here. They've already left.
Who's the only ultimate here? So he's going to ult one in. In goes Pobelter, and Demonte is going to finish it off as Solo can't make it in time to try and save his buddy, who he does take a decent amount of damage going for that engage, but 100 Thieves at least are going to make it an unfair fight as Closer is back out on the map. With Pobelter dead, I don't know if CLG can try and take this. Someday he's going to take matters into his own hands. Does get the cleanse out of Wild Turtle. Now Solo out of position. Who he found the grab through the crunch. But Solo not going to be felled just yet. Curtain Call instead going to try and shoot down Someday. But last bullet goes wide there. Crab over to Griffin. 100 Thieves still looking to try and chase, but Someday so low. A good ult there from Soul is going to get FBI low, but he lives just barely. The Dragon is going to finish him off and goes to sleep now, Solo, but Closure is just so low as he does put the Gnar to sleep, but Someday getting low. A great stun there for Smoothie finds two, and now Someday going to get shot to pieces by Jhin as he finds a triple kill, and CLG once again will keep the Dragon Soul away from 100 Thieves.
This is what we wanted to see, that patience. They know that 100 Thieves is bluffing. There's no jungler here. You can't start the dragon without the jungler knowing the enemy jungler is nearby with Smite and you're contesting Soul. So they were just looking for a fight, which is why they got that pick on Pobelter. But after they used those big cooldowns, it just was not anything left in the tank to keep going for that dragon fight. And CLG was just so strong at this point, continuing to put more gold onto this Jhin. And he's quickly become just a giant threat because you're eliminating Pobelter right away twice. They jump him immediately and take him out instantly, but Taliyah's damage is still comparable to what Victor is dealing now, and Jhin gets to be really far back, and once the initial initiation tools go out from 100 Thieves, they can never reach him.
Oh, Turtle, oh, just barely. FBI is going to dive in on top and get the shutdown. Cursed at Crumbs as there's a Sleepy Gnar as well. Someday ramping over with the flank. There's the slam in from Hu. Rel with the stun is going to try and counter-engage, but Someday just going to rip Smoothie apart. Going to be another kill there as it's only Pobelter left alive as 100 Thieves finally line up a team fight.
They get it, and they immediately eliminate. He just walked up to them, got hit by Kai'Sa, and instantly goes down. It takes so much to take down these carries. Who he has to sacrifice his flash, get in there every time, but nope. Just walking in.
Unfortunately,
you can never count that one. Can never count on that one.
Nothing to take, but I mean, this is some old school Kai'Sa, it feels like. Yeah, FBI is just doing the solo.
She dashed in and then ulted in and just killed him. It was that easy.
Demonte helped, but mostly FBI did that, as Someday with a great flank here as well.
So, I mean, we know that there is a ton of damage on the side of 100 Thieves. I think if they have the confidence to know that they can be the ones to initiate very quickly, that they'll be able to get these fights. Because that's already been twice that we've seen how quickly FBI pops Turtle. If they could do that, get an engage against Turtle and Pobelter at the same time, then 2 seconds is all they need. That's too much time almost to eliminate the CLG's members.
And this game's still going. You know, Soul is still being kept away from 100 Thieves. They'll have another shot in 2 minutes 45. Gold lead's pretty negligible. CLG actually still up about 2,000 gold, but given that we are getting later, it feels like it matters less and less on the execution of these engagements. And for how CLG started this tournament, especially without, again, their intended starting roster, and how good 100 Thieves looked yesterday to kick off their lock-in, this is a much more competitive game than I think many people would have expected, and that's credit to CLG for, you know, figuring stuff out very quickly with a more of a patched together roster and understanding what they need to do. Like, I think 100 Thieves are still showing lots of good moments, but as the game gets later, CLG knows that they're still in it. Certainly this game could go to any team at this point.
This is more of what I wanted to see out of CLG. I think no matter what, that first game was just a ginormous underperformance. You have so many veterans on this CLG squad. You're almost hard-pressed not to make it to a stage in the game where you're actually making macro decisions as a team. And I think this is what we wanted to see out of guys like Pobelter, Wild Turtle, Smoothie, and even Solo to an extent, despite his LCS career kind of been peppered on and off teams. They've been around for a long time, so these players have been in a lot of different scenarios that they should not feel nervous or pressured into.
Well, we'll see what happens in a minute 30, because another team fight is surely going to be on the cards. And it's kind of the battle of the two big 2021 AD carries, but Hui again going to try and make it happen. There's Griffin going to get just absolutely deleted by FBI as Hui gifts the jungler on a silver platter to his AD.
This has just been a gift from Hui every single time. Every pick they find is Hui getting someone either flashing in, hex flashing in, just running at you. They've found so many crucial champion picks that now without Talia, she's going to be late for the dragon fight. And that means she's not going to be able to have that Weaver's Wall to pick somebody off, which has been the bane of 100 Thieves' team fighting against CLG. Continuing to look for these sleeps from the side will get CLG killed. They don't have a jungler right now. They should not be trying to test the waters, but they do.
Yeah, Belts are going to be put to sleep, but no one can really chase in. I take it all back. FBI just destroys him as closer. He's going to pick up the last hit, but the ulti's not bad. Smoothie, though, going to get crushed as Turtle does pick up someday, but now Solo's going to save the day. The ulti is good on FBI, but the shields are there for Namonte as Hui is going to peel them off the AD, but Solo, like a Godzilla, just smashes through all of 100 Thieves and is able to take down FBI. Standoff here. Turtle just waiting, going to fire the last bullet. Big chunk of damage to the set despite being decently tanky. And 100 Thieves going to have to go back to base, and that Ocean Soul up and ready in 3 seconds. And look who's here. It's the enemy jungler.
It might have been enough. It might just have been enough for Talia and Jhin to go for this one. Jhin has so much damage right now, and yeah, it actually is. The 4v5 out of CLG ends up playing out. And now they are also on the Ocean Soul, but one that is way more powerful on that one. I thought this was so risky to continue to dance with 100 Thieves here, but they commit to going on to Pobelter, which is what they've been doing so much, eliminating Victor right away. But a huge engage there from Smoothie to stop so much of the follow-up. Actually bought so much time right in front of Jhin, so that Wild Turtle could survive and then set himself up to really assist Solo from the side, because they would have lost the dragon had they not gotten that 4th kill.
I think Wild Turtle's W was the reason FBI died. There's like no angle to really block it, and Solo just had somehow enough in the tank with a bit of help from Jhin to take down FBI, because I think otherwise there's nothing you can really do after that point, even with the counter engage you had. Oh my goodness, Solo. That is so much damage in that last team fight. All right, well, not really time to rest and talk about it, Crumbs, because CLG are back on the Baron once again. Closure is here, but the Baron is getting shredded.
It's the Mega Gnar buffs. That's all we can say. Mega Gnar got buffed. He did all that damage in Mega Gnar.
50-50 again. Weaver's Wall's going to cut him off. Closer just has to get in and try and steal it. Who's going to grab it? Baron is on the table. It's Pobelter again. That last hit, but Sunday's going to try and win the team fight instead for the 100 Thieves. FBI in there, but it's Solos. He's going to slam him, but there's Hui going to peel him off there as we'll chase down the now Wild Turtle, though, able to kill the front liner there as 100 Thieves are now also without a player, but FBI is hunting. Oh my goodness, the damage from the Jhin and the Talia is enough to give Turtle the double kill, and 100 Thieves go a little too far on that play.
So both ADs can kill each other in one shot. That's the stage we're at in this game. Really high-octane gameplay there, because they both are packing RFCs as well, which makes it so that you just see each other from half across the screen, one-tap each other, and now you're out of the mix. But that fight is just the same recipe that 100 Thieves keeps throwing at CLG. But results continue to kind of be the same, where you don't really know who's won or lost these fights, is they picked Pobelter right away, didn't get to use many of his spell rotations, but then the rest of the team still has enough damage in the tank with the Talia on the retreat.
Well, you can see at 15 minutes, the game flipped and CLG started having a gold lead. And now it's 37 minutes in, and CLG still have a gold lead, but nobody has the Ocean Soul. Who's going to get killed here? And nothing Set can do, even with the W fully stacked. The Smoothie's going to collect credit for that one.
See, this is the kind of combination that I'm starting to like to see, because we hadn't seen Talia with Rel before, so we didn't really know what their synergies were. But before we do that, let's see Pobelter get deleted once again from a control ward, right? Instantly gets popped. Doesn't even have time. Oh yes, he does. Actually gets to pop his ultimate. That's his last wish. But then the one tap from Wild Turtle. Let's see, what was it? Auto attack Q. That was Kai'Sa's life.
You know what I think it is? Because I just saw FBI in that replay dodge an RW with a Gale Force activation. That was sweet.
Wow.
I think it's just like hit him with everything that aren't the skill shots and he dies. Because he's so good at dodging skill shots. But he can't really dodge Jin stuff.
That's how Skarner won world championship teams with Skarner. It's like, how he dodges everything. All right, pick Skarner. Good luck.
We got him. All right, well, 100 Thieves getting pushed in here by the Red Bull Baron Power players. CLG continuing to extend their gold lead, but really need to do the winning the game thing, which they have struggled to do so far in the Lock-In tournament. But it would be a very impressive win against 100 Thieves. They can pick it up here. They are going to crack mid inhib. Always a good first step into finishing off that Nexus. But 100 Thieves, we know they've got the team fights locked and loaded. It's just a matter of, I think at this point, can you kill Wild Turtle? Like, Pobelter's a big threat as well. He's got 4 items, including a Rabadon's. Like, you need to be very careful around the CLG carries. It feels like it's oops all threats on the CLG side. But I think Turtle has to die, because if he doesn't, I don't think there's any way you're winning a team fight. Oh, Shockwave's going to find 2. Smoothie and Solo, not bad targets, but not the primo ones, as 100 Thieves will force CLG to back away.
You know, diving these carries is one approach, but the other is that no one can really tank the carries for very long. So you can actually count on some of the tanks to get a little bit out of position and then get shredded by the Jhin or the Kai'Sa from either team. So it's not only the plan to dive them, but also look for the opportunities to maybe just pull back and see if somebody else overextends, as we've seen Rels or Sets really push a little bit too far up, and those inches that you get too far from your team make a big difference this late in the game when the damage is so darn high.
I mean, also credit to Demonte, like, he is trying to shield his carries, and he's doing a very good job supporting this team while still outputting damage in CC, but it's just no supports in the world are going to save you from all this damage on either side. As who he's going to look for yet another play. Solo going to be the target, perhaps. No, doesn't get grabbed, but he's going to get snared up instead by Turtle, and again, who he just cannot tank this.
Yeah, you have to be way more careful than that, because there was no Pobelter nearby, nor Griffin. They're just going to concede the soul, and they conceded because of that initial chunk, and who he can't engage anymore. He has no angle. He was spotted from that vision, and they know they can still win this game without that Ocean Soul, but it is a lot harder now, and I think a big part of it is going to have to be FBI diving in. If they can use that to combine with the hard CC, but they're going for something. Here he is.
Goods on is for Griffin. Needed to get it done there. Going to get himself shot down, but FBI just getting shredded by everyone. Pobelter's ulti doing so much work, but he is going to fall to Someday. A critical pick-off there for 100 Thieves' as Solo. Almost going Mega, but doesn't really have an angle here. Still ultis left for 100 Thieves, so Demonte is chasing. But Pobelter down makes team fighting tough on CLG.
Yeah, they have to back off now. They just have to wait for him to respawn, and we continue the objective dance, because his spawn will coincide with 30 seconds until the Baron. So that's where we're going to next. That's where 100 Thieves is dancing to. That's where they're pinging. And we see what are the control wars that they have for this next fight, because the control wars will kind of tell us what kind of setup is going to happen for this Dragon. We really only have 2. One from the supports and the junglers. There's really nothing on the CLG side, and when you have fewer wards than you'd ideally like, that's when you end up having more of these ARAMI style games, because, well, there's just no vision elsewhere. You group up in the mid lane, you stay grouped, and you move as a unit. It's the safest way to move around when everything is dark.
Good W there from FBI. Is going to spot Solo, as CLG were trying to line up a play onto somebody who was just farming what he can in his own jungle. Again, Ocean Soul's off the table. Elder Dragon, though, is now on. 4 minutes 20 until that one spawns, but Baron is the more important objective at this point. 15 seconds until that one is up. 100 Thieves are yet to secure a Baron in this game, although they've tried to make it close. I think the 50-50 is not where they want to be. Oh, Solo actually may be picked off here. Huhi with a very nice angle, but Solo does manage to leap away to safety.
If he was Mininar, I think Huhi would have flash suplexed him into the team. They would have popped him right away, despite him being a very tanky Gnar build.
CLG also walking into the other side. Oh, they're Solo actually. They're just going to go for it here. Huhi using the suplex, but doesn't really get anything except Pobelton's ulti, which is actually pretty good. In fact, Jhin ulti as well will also be committed by Wild Turtle. FBI, the clear target there for CLG. Smoothie was galloping towards Kai'Sa. But Solo going to get chunked out there by Damonte, who does do a pretty good chunk of damage himself at this point. But it looks like just a reset here as CLG continue to use their super minis to pressure up towards the mid lane of 100 Thieves. And at this point, teams are just waiting for this objective. Baron is up, and CLG, they're going to be the first to walk over there.
It's funny because both teams' effective range of engage, whether it's the rel or the set, are much shorter than the harass. So they're kind of just stuck poking at each other without actually getting a fight started from either side. And one has to overextend to actually get in range of popping the other. And it's just not worth it right now because you see how quickly Huhi or even someone like Solo, how they die. The Orianna did about a third of his health in just a QW combo.
You can see Closer continuing to chuck ease over the walls. Did get but had a two-man sleep lined up, including Wild Turtle as one of the potential targets, but no real way to engage in except with Kai'Sa moving in there. Oh goodness, I cannot believe Smoothie got away there. But was in the grace period for the recall, so does live, although not around this Baron, and they know that, so that's going to give 100 Thieves time to maybe start the objective. At least they clear out the vision and get the Scuttle Crab. But they are going to start it here.
This case is very fed. They have to go in.
Yeah, this Baron might be dead already. Kind of the opposite of the situation. In fact, the Baron is dead there. Closer able to smite it away, but there's Smoothie going in again with Magnet Storm. Ulti there from Solo's massive as Orianna is going to fall down. FBI also has been shredded, and CLG, they finally find the wall to line things up, and Someday is going to be the only one left alive for not very much longer. Someday tries what he might. He's going to try and keep the game alive, but that's the Bud Light ace and the victory for CLG as they'll take down 100 Thieves.
Baron for the game, Pastry, the classic trade of the LCS here. 100 Thieves will get ace cleanly. Both carries got deleted by Solo with a huge ultimate at the end. It looked like a great call. I got to hand it to them. They didn't see it coming. They got the objective, but the team fight setup was all CLG.
All right, well, the Nexus will fall, and CLG going to pick up win number 1. We thought 100 Thieves were the hottest looking team after day 1, and they were, but CLG say not so fast. And if we've learned anything from the Lock-In tournament, Crumbs, is it's nothing. We know nothing, because it's just upsets left, right, and center.
We know EG. Aha, it's not 100 Thieves, it's EG. It's the top team. They're the ones that look really good.
The exact team everyone said we're going to be the number 1 team after 2 days of play, Crumbs. EG.
Well, at least they have the courage to make the talk, to say that they're going to be exciting and still deliver for it, because 100 Thieves, I think, are still playing solid games. Still got some corners in their play to round out, especially when it comes to getting these engages against CLG. But the CLG roster, I think this is more the level that we wanted to see. I'm more happy than anything that these veterans